Elite Heat is back. Our top 50's in the books. Where all attention goes to Survivor Series and the back end of the year. Lots to come. But today, Kevin, for starters, how you doing, pal?
I'm good, pal. Man, we've got a loaded show for you all. We're going to talk about Sting announcing his retirement on AEW Dynamite on TBS. We're going to talk a little bit about CM Punk and a little bit more AEW talk. You know, their the economy of the AEW business. We'll say that. But the headliner, the big segment, we're doing a Shield versus Bloodline debate. We're going to tell you definitively, objectively, who is the better faction between the two. And both of these factions were led by the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. So yeah, can't wait to debate that. Pal, how are you feeling? Are you ready?
Pal, I'm great. I've got the glasses out today. We're discussing Shield Bloodline. It's fitting. We're at Survivor Series time. 11 years ago, I vividly remember it. The Shield debuted, however you want to say it. Survivor Series 2012. Infamous, one of the biggest moments of the PG era. Now, today we sit here, Kevin. There's a month till Survivor Series. It's going to be something Bloodline versus Team Cody versus the good guys of WWE, something like that. So it feels fitting. We're a month out. It's Survivor Series sort of content. There's still Crown Jewel to come, pal. Deep in the heart, deep in the guts of Riyadh, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, pal. Can't wait. That being said, pal, I just want to say one more thing. Obviously, we've done our top 50. Feedback is going off on that. You guys love that series. Plenty of engaging stuff in that. If you haven't seen that, go listen to those episodes. I want to plug one more time. Our December, obviously all our shows are big deals, pal, because we're the most powerful podcast in the community. But get to December, that is an all-out month. Our year in review, our year-end awards, the Elite Heat 25, and finally our season finale, Kevin, the big calls for 2024, the hot takes, what we believe will happen in 2024. I started planning some, and these are just nuts, mental. So, Kevin, that being said, where do you want to start us off, pal?
Pal, let's get to it. Now, let's talk about Sting. So for one, Sting, they tease this announcement. AEW tweets out, "Oh, Sting is going to be live on Dynamite with a big announcement," and people are speculating, "Oh, Sting is going to retire." Cool. He's like 64 years old. He's been wrestling for a long, long time. I worry for the guy's safety every time he takes a big bump. And he's given us everything. Like literally, he's wrestled for what, probably 10, 15 years past like realistically he should have been, and he's still out there doing it. So nothing but respect to him. Hats off to him. Now, with all that being said, all that respect, hats off. It transitions into this. Sting, he announces this retirement live on Dynamite. He says his last match will be at Revolution in February 2024, and in just a few short months. A video circulates on social media, Twitter, Instagram, etc., of Sting talking to seemingly an empty audience. The arena that Dynamite was taped in front of last Wednesday was a little thin on attendance, to say the least. At least where the hard cam was. And I was looking at it, I was just like, man, it's kind of sad to see Steve Bourne, to see Sting, a legend, retire that way. It seems like everything in his career just hasn't gone up to the way that you would want it, at least in the last maybe 15, 20 years. And TNA didn't really have a lot of big moments, I mean, he had some cool stuff going on there, but he's associated with like Victory Road, just an embarrassment and a shame to the business, with Jeff Hardy showing up high, and other things like that. He comes with WWE, everybody wants to see him face The Undertaker, so Vince McMahon's like, nah, damn it, pal, it's gonna be my son-in-law. So the WWE run didn't go the way that it should have, I guess, or the way people would have wanted to, or even Sting would have wanted to. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's kind of unfortunate to see Sting here out on Dynamite in front of an empty crowd like this. Don't you think?
Pal, I agree. Glasses coming off for this one. It's sad watching it because you see the one clip of it, just like the Sting addresses his future and he announces this and that it's coming to an end, and part of me is just like, thank God. Like, there's no real, like, the risk versus reward of him wrestling still at this stage is just so skewed now. It's no longer, yep, he's going to be fine, he's going to wrestle and it's going to be great. It's just, what's the real output there? The net positive for anyone, really? It's not. I don't know. But yeah, he's calling it quits. He's announcing his retirement. I mean, we had him, 20s all time, somewhere around there. He's one of the greats. He's objectively one of the top 50 of all time. So a legend's announcing his retirement. But yeah, further to your point, looking at that shot of Sting and the crowd, and there's like no one at the hard cam side, and it's like, oh, it's just sort of sad. You're just like, these legends deserve better. With Steve Borden, I mean, there was the Adam Copeland one where he ran out at Wrestle Dream and was doing this, and he's looking at the empty crowd. And as you commented in our podcast, you're like, he clearly saw that on his face. It's like, oh, there's empty seats, and he just kept doing his thing, but he was like hit him, and this will keep happening. This isn't the start of it, as we'll get to in a few short minutes regarding the ticket sales and the direction of that. It's not looking great from a long-term standpoint when it comes to old buddy Tony down in Jacksonville. So yeah, good on Sting. Great career. Never quite clicked as you'd hope for in a number of different cases. It clicked in 98, like 97, 98, objectively. Ever since, not exactly, but yeah, he's announcing his retirement. Too many empty seats though, pal.
Yeah, and that's kind of a trend with AEW. The ticket sales, it's been a talk of the community. It's been a hot topic. Really, I mean, that's not a great thing to be in the news for, not a great thing to be buzzing for, but it's something that can't go unnoticed. AEW, yes, they did pretty well in England. They sold 80,000 seats, whatever it was, 75,000 seats, packed out the big football stadium. But then when you come back to the States and you're touring like 5,000-6,000 seat arenas, in some cases they're going into like 10,000 seat arenas, and they're selling 2,000 to 3,000 tickets. Ah, man, it's yeah, not a great thing to see.
Kevin, I mean, we could have this. We've done this discussion to certain extents before, and we'll continue to do it because it's like the major thing involving this. But I'll phrase it like this: without Vince McMahon in the picture, what is AEW to wrestling? What are they that is unique? What is their alternative? Because when Vince was around, it was very easy. That's the evil Vince McMahon. Wrestlers hate it. Wrestlers don't want to be here. Here's AEW, the land of escapism. Get to be yourself, express your creative freedom, do what you want to do, yada yada. That's what it was for 3-4 years. But now WWE's they've found that balance between entertainment, the stars, and wrestling, and there's and Triple A, there's great leadership and all that we've discussed, and AEW is just sort of there. And then you mentioned you used the word economy earlier. There's that. I mean, we've addressed this in previous podcasts regarding pricing, but generally logistics of it. When you're an hour away, you're like, how do I bother? Nah. No, what am I going to see that I need to drive an hour to see? Like, what's sort of going on? And it'll continue to be like that. Like, there's nothing really going on at the moment where I'm like, oh my God, like Swerve Strickland's a great talent. Yes, I like Toni Storm's gimmick. I think that's a good gimmick presentation of her. Bryan Danielson is going to soon announce his farewell tour for 2024, probably. That's what he's hinting at. But really, as a product, like, I don't know. There's not a lot. And as a result, I mean, I speak for the majority in that regard. The ticket numbers, Kevin, there's a show in Chicago the week of Survivor Series for some reason. I don't know why they're putting it then. AEW's done a great job of alienating their Chicago market, Kevin, as we've discussed, where they fired their big star signing, Philip Jack Brooks. And then that night, you had Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson hitting the cha-cha slide in front of a Chicago audience to celebrate the firing of their hometown hero. No wonder the crowd numbers are down. So regarding ticket sales for that show, this is the November 22nd Dynamite. So a month away, they've sold 1,900 tickets.
Oh, can I mention this before I forget too? There was a video that circulated of Big Show, Paul White, I should say. There he is, Paul White, pal. He was in front of I don't know what it was, if it was like a local appearance, but he was in front of some sort of crowd. It might have been a post-Dynamite thing. He came out and he announced that AEW is going to be doing buy one, get one free tickets in the near future for their next upcoming slate of shows, just to help them sell. Which was, that was also tough to see. I mean, they're getting to the point where they're resorting to buy one, get one free. And I understand business is hard right now. Business is down all across the board for entertainment. But still, man, it's I at this point, I would rather see AEW just run a more intimate show, run it like 1,000-seat building, maybe charge a little bit more for tickets, and pack out 1,000-seat arena and make that look as full as possible. But realistically, with them losing that mystique that you were talking about of the anti-Vince McMahon, we're anti whatever WWE is. They've lost that mystique now that WWE is putting on a great product and is being the number one brand in wrestling as it should, like the NBA and the NFL. AEW, it's not really plausible for them right now to be selling out 10,000 seat arenas. They can do it, but I mean, let's be honest. The stars of AEW have cooled off significantly. The Young Bucks pretty much lost all of their stigma the moment AEW started. They became just like everything they hated on and talked bad about. And Kenny Omega's like pretty much washed up. He's kind of done from a physical standpoint. So I don't know.
Well, Kevin, one more thing on that. I think a great way of deciding and figuring out how a company's going, or even this is the same in sports with sports teams and just generally, I mean, a business as well. But let's look at AEW. Which of their big stars, so I'm talking Kenny Omega, I'm talking Ambrose or Moxley, I'm talking Bryan Danielson, MJF, Cole, which of them or how many of them, if any, have had career best years? Like how many of you looked at their 2023 and gone, that's the best year of their career? Or that's the best year. Like I know for WWE, Gunther, Cody Rhodes, I could argue Seth Rollins. I mean, debatable, but there you go. It's not Roman Reigns' best year, but because he hasn't really been there enough. But when he's been there, it's been pretty good. Sami Zayn and there's a lot of people. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and LA Knight. You can do like a decent sized list. I'm sure there's more. I'm not thinking off the top of my head. AEW Strickland,
MJF.
I guess. Yeah. Now there's a bit of drama, but yeah. Danielson, he's been some main events. No. But is he cooking with momentum? Is Moxley with momentum anymore? Omega's been some good matches, but is the momentum there? No. This is why the ticket sales aren't high. There's no real stars with momentum who you want to see come to town. Like even when Kevin, you went to a Rampage? You went to an AEW show a year or two ago. It was like CM Punk was there, and there's some others. And you're like, oh, I want to see Punk. He's got a great reaction. I want to see this guy and this guy. But that's not there anymore, which is a big deal. That's part of the reason they're doing buy one get one free tickets. Soon will I get to the point where TNA got, where they're doing shows in baseball stadiums and like with a ring and then a bunch like 1,000 people just around the like. Where's this going to get to? Is this going to keep going down? Is it going to go up again? How's it going to go up? What are they going to? What's going to change this? Because you can laugh at the pictures of the empty arenas, but how's it going to change? What can they do?
Well, here's the reality of the situation, and this will get us to our next point. Tony Khan, he looked at CM Punk, like, oh, I got Adam Copeland on the bag, pal. Now, Adam Copeland's in the bag. He's on the hook. I'm gonna have him come in and be the next star. I can fire CM Punk. I don't need CM Punk. And then now he's seeing that Adam Copeland can't carry the ball the same way that CM Punk did, and Adam Copeland's name doesn't hold the same weight that CM Punk's did at this current climate in wrestling. And with that being said about CM Punk, I want to talk about this. I want to address this, bring this point up about the whole like CM Punk WWE rumor killer thing. Why would WWE tell Dave Meltzer and Fightful, hey, CM Punk's gonna return in Survivor Series? Big surprise. So like it's not really shocking, right, that the dirt sheets are out here reporting, oh, CM Punk is not coming in. WWE is not interested in him. Like, right? Am I crazy?
So what you're saying is WWE putting the quash on these these rumors isn't. I mean, because like what else would they do, sort of thing?
Why would they say, yeah, Dave, you're right. Yeah, CM Punk. We signed CM Punk. He's going to debut in Survivor Series in November.
Well, that's what AEW did in 2021. Remember in June and July when the rumors started amping up, and they basically all but confirmed it, and it was pretty much a given thing by the time he showed up. So a different approach now for WWE. Does Punk end up showing up? I can't wait to see now because they've quashed it, but you don't know until the show goes off the air in Survivor Series. We won't know. So that keeps the intrigue there. It makes you want to watch the whole event, want to see what happens. Do we hear Cult of Personality at Survivor Series? That's now one of the big questions going to that show. If we don't hear it, it's not the end of the world. It's not like a massive disappointment. It's like, okay, so they were right to quash the rumors. But if we do,
we've seen the subtle hints to CM Punk's return on WWE TV and WWE social media, similar to when Cody was on the way back, when Cody was already signed. I think it was Nakamura did a GTS. I don't remember who it was. I think it was
Yeah.
Rollins or somebody, but he did a GTS. WWE's Instagram account posted that on their story and says, "Oh, Nakamura with the GTS." And then we saw on Monday after Raw, WWE was going on Instagram and was like talking about not after Raw. I don't know what it was. It was like LA Knight's glasses, and you had Roman Reigns, his image in LA Knight's
Mm.
glasses. They were like, "Look in his eyes. What do you see?" So we're seeing like subtle hints being dropped,
Yeah.
similar to when
Mm.
Cody came back. I don't know. I mean, is it likely that CM Punk's going to show up at Survivor Series in Chicago? I don't know. I'd say it's like 50-50 at this point.
Yeah. I'd agree. I think it's flip a coin sort of stuff. I'd say that's social media work, as you mentioned. What they're posting, how they're hinting at it is brilliant. That's just a great way to sort of stir the pot with the audience. Because even if he doesn't come back, you get people buzzed, excited for the event to potentially see him. There's the hype there, and all you need to do is get people to watch. Really, that's how these businesses work. So it's going to be a fascinating one. Is Punk under contract? Has something been signed? We will see. We will find out. So, I mean, it gives us something to talk about, pal. I do like that, I must say. It gives us something to speculate on. I like that. As we've discussed, my qualms come with the thought of in 7 months, him with Seth Rollins having a backstage fight where one of them storms off and there's that's my issue. But Seth Rollins is more professional than Matt Jackson. So, who knows? But yeah, pal, anything else on Phil, pal?
Pal, if CM Punk does come back, and WWE
Mm.
does have to fire him because he beats up Seth Rollins in catering for real, but
Yep.
would you want to see Paul Levesque strutting out to the ring like the night after CM Punk gets fired to the hot crowd after SmackDown goes off the air? Got Triple H coming out there with his theme music, got like a cake, he's strutting, pal. He's hitting the nay-nay, the whipping nay-nay, pal.
Whip, no. He's celebrating, pal. You got Paul Levesque hitting the cha-cha slide, celebrating Phil Brooks getting fired, pal. Celebrating Phil getting fired. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, that's all I want to say. Just imagine that. Paul Levesque shimmying, pal. Paul Levesque's doing the worm. Celebrating Philip Jack Brooks getting fired.
Pal, imagine Paul Levesque. He's literally he's doing karaoke to his own theme song, celebrating. It's in Chicago. He's just like, "Burn into I'm the game. Phil, see ya." He's like hitting the cha-cha slide, and he's doing the nay and like he's celebrating. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Anyway,
Yeah, it would be. Pal, you ready to debate the Bloodline versus the Shield?
Pal, I sure am. This is going to be powerful. I forget where our last debate was. We did Cena Rock. I remember that. That was quite a good one.
It was Roman, right? Wasn't it Roman versus Punk?
It was. Because I remember we deemed Cena was better than The Rock,
Yes.
which is cool.
Objectively.
And then I think we deemed Roman better than Punk.
Objectively, yes.
Yeah, we said Punk was better objectively on the mic and in the ring, but Roman's just better. I think that's what we said.
Yeah, Roman's just better at everything else, yeah.
I know, Roman just wins at everything because he's Joanna White, pal. He babysits 5 children in a Pensacola mansion in Florida.
He wins because of interference. You know, so somebody interfered in our podcast and made sure that Roman got the win.
Yeah, pal, we had Samoans taking me out so that Roman would win, pal. We had Sikoa hitting the Samoan spike, which I don't think is a good finisher at all. It doesn't make any sense. Him doing that to your sternum just incapacitates you? Okay.
It's a tribute to Umaga, pal.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense when Umaga did it either. Oh, I guess I don't know. Anyway, I'm not gonna die in that hole. That being said, pal, let's begin. Let's kick this off. Shield, Bloodline. You all know these stables. These are iconic, synonymous stables with the modern era. Kevin, I'm gonna start by asking you, who has the better entrance?
Ooh, that's tough. I think both of their entrances are very good. I'd say great, and for their own like separate ways is why they're great. What makes the Shield entrance so great is the fact that like the music presentation, they would come out through the crowd. They'd be wearing the big bulletproof vests, sometimes the masks. They look like badasses. They look like hired guns, as Michael Cole used to say, until my ears wanted to bleed. And then the Bloodlines entrance, the music's really good. It feels like a big time movie production. You know, it's like you got the 8K cameras, you got Paul Heyman there holding the belts, you got the Usos, you got Solo, you had Sami Zayn at one point, and you got Roman. Roman marching them to the ring like he's the mafia leader. Very well done. The merchandise, everybody's ripped. A bunch of Jack Samoans, the Usos are out there. It's um, like I said, they're unique and they're good in their own separate ways. But me personally, I prefer the Shield. I think the Shield's entrance is it's awesome. Like they're coming through the crowd, and that's an iconic entrance. That's kind of unique to them. Like other people did it, like Edge and Christian, yeah. But I would say like the modern wrestling fan, like I think the modern wrestling fan would go crazy if like the Shield reunited and they did their entrance. Like that'd be the big part of their reunion. It would be like seeing the entrance, hearing the theme song, and yeah, that's where I stand on that matter.
Yeah, I agree with you. As we'll discuss, the Bloodline take a number of categories we're going to get to, but the entrance is not one of them. The entrance is one where that is just synonymous with the Shield. The Shield in the modern era, I think, had the best entrance, or one of them. Like it was so unique. It was one of those ones where you'd hear their music and oh my god, they're gonna come through the crowd. Oh my god! And like if you're at the event, especially on that like the camera, the side the camera's facing, and you'd have, oh my god, is Ambrose gonna come out that side? Rollins, right? The wrestlers, oh my god, they're in the vests, and like yeah, it's just like it's such a great thing for the live crowd as well. It's cool, it's different. And imagine you're going to take a piss, or you're going to get a refill of your drink, or you're going to go to the merchandise stand or a show, and you see just Ambrose and Reigns just like in their full gear, these like jacked 6'3" wrestlers, just all the water in their hair, they're ready to come out. Like, oh my god, it's the wrestlers. Like that's unique to them. That's just something so unique. Not to take away from the Bloodline entrance. I mean, it's an entrance of presence, especially when it's like a massive stable. Harkens back to the Attitude Era with the corporation and the other big time stables they'd have, which was all-time great stuff. Nothing against that, but I just think the Shield have to take entrance. It's iconic. Everything about that in the modern day. So yeah, to me, Shield take the entrance. That's Shield 1, Bloodline zip. There you go. There you go.
All right, so now let's talk storylines. Which of these stables have been involved in the better storylines?
Well, that's just the Bloodline win that in a landslide, don't they? I mean, Kevin, the Shield storylines. Now, I'm specifically thinking about from November 2012 when they came in through until they, I guess, broke up officially in 2014. Even beyond the breakup, we can discuss that. Like when they broke up and Ambrose was running around chasing Rollins and shirtless Kane kept stopping him. And there was interference with Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble. And that feud went on for 6 months, only for the culmination, Kevin, the big Hell in a Cell match, Rollins, Ambrose, the Shield. They're feuding. This is the final battle. They're inside the cage. Oh, Bray Wyatt has Bray Wyatt has an hourglass thing in the ring and is projecting a telegram of Bray Wyatt. Wyndham, how's Bray's here? Sorry. So that was the big storyline for the breakup. But really, as a stable, storylines wise, I mean, it had some the Wyatt family is probably the best. I mean, storyline that was more so just like, oh, the two big stables are going to clash. Like I lived that. There wasn't like a deep, meaningful, gut wrenching storyline. It was just sort of, oh my god, the Wyatt family Shield, they're gonna fight. That's amazing. And it's similar to Evolution. Evolution were like, we're the established stable. You guys are all like young. We're gonna beat you. That was that sort of feud. And beyond that, in 2013, it was just them, I guess, as the hitmen for Punk and Heyman for a bit. Then they were, feuding with just a bunch of like stars. You had Sheamus, Orton, Big Show, Daniel Bryan. They're all having matches with them. So to me, the Bloodline, Kevin, the Sami Zayn thing alone, that like year-long story just clears any Shield storyline. Just that was exceptional. Very well done. And just the drama within the faction. I get it at the moment. As we've discussed, Kevin, there are times when, okay, Jimmy Uso, Solo, what are they sort of doing? Like, this is sort of just like they're dragging on the storyline just to get through to next WrestleMania. There are parts where we think this is necessary because it's such a big story, but on the whole, the Bloodline just clears story. They just do. Like, there's no. If you debate this, pal, if you think the Shield wins story, I'm gonna leave this podcast, pal.
So funny. Wow, very confronting, pal. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Bloodline, yeah, they kind of watched this, pal. The Sami Zayn storyline, that was amazing. That was like a year-long build, year-long storyline, very good. And then just like pretty much everything they've been involved with, Usos like turning and like them turning on Roman, and then Roman like the whole thing they did with the beginning of the Bloodline with Jimmy and Jay, and like them falling in line, and then Jay being like, "Nah, we gotta stand up to this guy, Oos." Just everything they've done for the last like 3 years. It's been storyline driven. Where the Shield, like you said, it was just like, all right, we're gonna have these matches, pal. We're gonna put the action figures in the ring and let them fight. Yeah, just let them fight, pal.
That was the Shield, pal. But yeah, I think that makes it 1-1. We got one to the Shield, one to the Bloodline. Shield clear with the entrance, Bloodline clear with the storylines. Kevin, are you ready for the next category?
I am.
This one is going to split opinion, I reckon. This one is one of the closest ones. Backstage segments or backstage presentation. Now, for the Shield, that was the hidden camera style, which was once again very unique.
Are we going to include on-screen segments too, like in-ring segments and stuff like that too?
Kevin, look at the run sheet. There's a whole set. There's a whole part for that, pal. We'll get there.
Wow, so we're dividing segments in two. Okay.
Yeah, because they're so different. So
interesting.
Backstage, you got the Shield who would do the hidden camera segments. They're passing the camera around to Roman, to Seth, to Dean. Got the camcorder. They're all like Ambrose is like unhinged, holding the thing. They're doing their promos. They're in some boiler room sort of thing backstage, and like the presentation was just excellent. The Bloodline, I mean, who can forget some of these segments? Heyman's backstage crying on the phone to Roman. Roman's sitting there angrily as the tribal chief. Jey Uso steps up and Roman just angrily looks at him, and it's the storyline. Sikoa's just like there, like this. Who can forget the Usos confronting them and Roman being like, which one? Jey, Jimmy, same thing. Who cares? There are a number of just great moments involving their backstage segments. So, Kevin, I'll get your opinion, then I'll give my verdict, pal. What do you think?
There you go, pal. Yeah, backstage segments. I mean, for me, I'm gonna say the Bloodline. For me, like I'm gonna go with them. Like I just think like the segments were more meme worthy. You know, like the Jimmy Uso segment where he's like knocking on the door. He's like, oh, open the door, Oos. Come on, open the door, bro. Like that's the segment that's gonna be memed forever. You know. I think they take it. Their backstage segments for me, they're easier to follow. They gripped me more.
Okay.
They pulled me in. They had me suckered in to see what's gonna happen next. Any segment, whoever is involved with, whether it's Roman just doing an interview or Roman yelling at Jimmy. Well, one of my all-time favorites too is when Roman changed the channel, shut the TV off on Kevin Owens, pal. That was great. Just some of those meme-worthy stuff, man. I gotta give it to the Bloodline for that.
Yeah, pal, I'll be honest, I initially had the Shield just because the style was so different. Yeah. But I mean, the ones you mentioned, I'm thinking back, that one where Reigns is sitting in the chair and Kevin Owens is like at ringside, like throwing chairs around, putting Jey Uso through tables, destroying Jey Uso, and Roman's just sat there in the chair and he looks at the TV and just turns the remote off. Like that's just iconic. That's some great television. I love the one where, I mean, granted, this could be called a segment, not really backstage, but Reigns is sitting in the chair and it's like a split screen. Or Reigns here and Kevin Owens. Roman's just unimpressed. Once he changes the chair, just turns the thing off. Just great stuff.
Iconic.
You know, it's just brilliant. So I'm going to give this to the Bloodline. So that makes it Shield 1, Bloodline dose.
All right, pal. Let's talk their match catalog as a group. I don't even think this is even a debate. The Shield have this. Like, how could you have it any other way? I don't even think there's an argument, pal. If you make an argument for this, pal, I might leave the podcast. The Shield clear this above and away, bar none, no discussion, no debate. This is objective. The Shield have better group matches. Look at everything they've done from their debut match at TLC. It was Daniel Bryan and Kane and Ryback versus the Shield TLC match.
That was
TLC
nuts.
2012.
That was nuts. That was so good.
They started off with a banger. They had classics with the Wyatt family. 3 or 4 classics with them. They had great matches with Evolution. Yep. Even as a tag team, like Ambrose and Reigns when they had, or was it Ambrose and Reigns? No, Rollins and Reigns when they had their tag team, the tag team titles. They had that little run. Good matches with Cody and Dustin. Yeah,
that one. Yeah,
good matches against like Randy Orton and someone else, maybe Sheamus or something. Yeah, for me, the Shield in ring. The Bloodline. Okay, Bloodline had the Civil War match. That was pretty good in Money in the Bank. If you're counting like the Usos matches, like some of those Usos matches against Owens and Sami Zayn, that might bump them up a lot. But we really haven't seen like the group in like a 6-man or 8-man matches. We'll probably see that at Survivor Series, at War Games. See a big match with the Bloodline, but we haven't seen a ton of that like we did with the Shield.
Yeah, I mean, really, War Games last year, it was like a Bloodline
Right.
versus a bunch of favorites. Which I mean, that was good, no debate. But I mean, the Shield to me is synonymous with just classic 6-man tags, and that Shield Wyatt family match, like as a stable versus stable thing, that was just iconic. One probably the best of definitely last 10 to 20 years. And then Shield Evolution, I love that. As a kid watching that, I must have been like 11 or 12. Oh, that was awesome. Just watching your Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton versus the Shield. Like that was just great. So yeah, we're giving the nod to them, pal. So that's gonna be Shield 2, Bloodline 2, pal. Pal, this is a blistering debate. Who will come out on top? What's the next category?
WrestleMania. I'll let you take the wheel here, pal.
Yeah, WrestleMania. I'll be honest, neither of which have really, I'll say, cleaned up at WrestleMania. We'll be critical of the Shield first. They've only really been a part of 2 WrestleManias, like as a faction. The first one, they opened the show from memory, and they faced Big Show, Randy Orton, and Sheamus, pal, in the
At
daytime in New
WrestleMania
Jersey.
29.
Yes, WrestleMania 29 in the daytime. And yeah, forgettable. If you're being nice, you might say it's a 3-star match. Nothing to toot your horn about. It was not a match people are going back to watch. Forgettable, whatever. The Shield won, cool. Then the next year, they come on like 55 minutes into WrestleMania. They're following the Hogan, Rock, Austin incredible opening segment. They're following Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. They just come out an hour in, beat up Kane, the New Age Outlaws in like 2 minutes, and that was that. So that just can't win the WrestleMania category. That just can't. Like that's not better. The Bloodline WrestleMania 39 alone with what they did on night 1 with the Usos and Zayn and Owens takes this category, Kevin. I'll be fair, but WrestleMania 38, yeah, Roman Reigns as the Bloodline leader in that infamous greatest match of all time against Brock Lesnar. His shoulder popped out and they called an audible mid-match, pal. They had to call the audible, pal. WrestleMania 37, you were in the rain in a poncho following a rain delay. You got Roman Reigns. There's Jey Uso interference. Heyman's crying. You've got Edge, Adam Copeland, Bryan Danielson, current AEW personnel getting stacked and pinned. Cool. WrestleMania 39, a blatant political rig job involving Cody Rhodes, a political hit piece on Cody Rhodes, backstage
Wow.
sick politics.
Political chess, pal? Political chess move by Joanne Hawaii?
Pal, political chess. If Roman Reigns, on the night of WrestleMania 39, night 2, if he was 1,001 days into his run, he would not have won that match. He would have just lost. The truth is what it is. As a result, we're doing the 2-year thing, just so Cody can inevitably win the match he should have won a year ago, WrestleMania 40. Whatever.
So,
Point being.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Let me stop you just for a moment. Are you telling me, Jimmy, to my face right now, that Roman Reigns paid tribute to the guy that you ranked number 1 all time last week in our top 50 wrestlers countdown, Hulk Hogan, aka Terry Bollea?
Yep.
Roman Reigns paid tribute to Terry Bollea by going into Vince McMahon's office. Actually, I shouldn't say Vince McMahon. Going into Nick Khan or Triple H's office, or both, the day of WrestleMania 39, and told Paul Levesque and Nick Khan, that doesn't work for me, brother. I'm not going to lose to Cody Rhodes.
I believe in my heart they had a year's worth of content planned out with Cody as the world champion, a Brock Lesnar program, the match with Dom and Money in the Bank. It's world championship stuff. I reckon they had a feud with Bray Wyatt planned for the world title. I think they had a feud with Randy Orton planned for this time of year. Cody versus McIntyre, a rematch against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, perhaps. I think that was all planned out. Joanna White walks in the office and goes, we need to get past 1,000 days. That doesn't work for me, brother. I'm winning this match. And then Triple H is like, are you sure, Roman? That's not the right thing to do. Joe, that's not the right thing to do. And Cody was just like, okay. Because come the night, Kevin, come WrestleMania 39, night 2, that felt really awkward. He's got the match won. All of a sudden, oh, it's a Samoan spike, pal. Oh, Roman wins. Oh, Wrestling Gifts goes home disappointed. It was very strange. It was a sick game of political chess. Since WrestleMania 39, Roman Reigns didn't appear for 2 months in the following. Since SummerSlam, Roman Reigns didn't appear for 2 months after that. That's 4 of the 5 months since WrestleMania. Roman hasn't been on screen. Talk about a world champion. I think it was an audible. I think they called an audible a day before. Roman said that doesn't work for me. That's my belief. So there you go.
All right. Well, I don't have too much to add to WrestleMania. I mean, this is you have to give it to the Bloodline, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the Usos were in the main event for the tag titles at WrestleMania 39 Night 1. Roman's main event at the last 2 WrestleManias. I don't know. This is kind of this is a nonsense category, pal. You're trying to stat pad numbers, pal. Let's do it. Let's do a more objective category. Let's replace this on the fly, pal. Let's call this category the supermarket test. All right, pal. Now, if you and I go into a supermarket, right? You and I walk in there with clipboards, right? And we stop 100 people, and we ask them, and we show them a picture. Do you know who these factions are? Who are people more likely to know, in your opinion?
What is this, pal? Pal! I'm going to say, and then this is the other thing. For years, our show has done this. We've done what we call the supermarket test, I guess, with wrestlers, saying if I go to a supermarket or I go to a grocery store and I ask 100 people who Bret Hart is, 75 would say, I know Bret Hart. Well, that doesn't take into account where the grocery store is.
Whoa.
What population. It's the most broad thing, pal.
No, this is correct.
I guess on the supermarket test, the Shield win, pal. That'll balance out our categories.
Let's go to Riyadh, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Let's take a private jet to Riyadh, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Let's go to a farmer's market. Let's ask 100 people if they know the Shield or if they know the Bloodline. And I guarantee you 70%, so 70 out of 100 people will say that they know the Shield over the Bloodline. Guaranteed.
Pal.
Now I'm even the score, pal. It's tied 3-3 now.
First off, WrestleMania as the category actually means something because it's like the biggest event in this whole thing.
The supermarket test it's a great, legitimate category, pal. I recognize that category as a legitimate category. Pal, let's call New York City. Let's have them replay the play in the booth. And they're going to tell you that I'm correct here, pal.
Just to clarify, so you've come in after I've done a very fair category in WrestleMania, very important, meaningful.
Not meaningful at all. The Shield are only in 2 WrestleManias. And they wrestled the mayor.
Which supermarket are you talking about?
They wrestled the mayor. The Shield wrestled the mayor. Kane nearly died for this business after getting speared by a 6'4" former college football player. Glenn Jacobs almost died for this business, pal. That was an irrelevant WrestleMania match.
You're talking about relevance, and you're bringing up some supermarket in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, asking.
Let's go to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Let's go to Riyadh, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Go to a farmer's market and ask 100 people. Let's see how relevant it is then, pal.
They probably say Yokozuna and Bill Goldberg is their favorite. What are you talking about? Anyway, we're going to move on now to this. This one's called segments. So not backstage segment. This is segments. This is in ring. This is opening a SmackDown. This is opening a Raw. Kevin, talk to us.
Oh man. I mean, this is the Bloodline. The Bloodline clears this by a mile. Well, what did we get realistically from the Shield in terms of in-ring segments? You had Dean Ambrose out there. Oh, I'm crazy. Oh. Ambrose was like the only guy that talked on the mic for most of the Shield's run. Like, from what I remember he was the mouthpiece guy, Rollins was the athletic guy, and Reigns was the force, the muscle. I don't remember a lot of those other 2 guys talking too much in the ring with a microphone. I do remember the one segment where CM Punk shredded them on the mic. That was funny, and like Ambrose did the talking, and then he was like, "Oh, I got Roman here. Roman's gonna beat you up, pal." Nothing really like super memorable in terms of in ring, aside from like their breakup, of course. I can't remember too many other like memorable ones. Like I remember the stare down with the Wyatt family. That was cool. But the Bloodline, I mean, I could probably name like at least 5 big time segments off the top of my head with the Bloodline.
What are your favorite? Like, off the top of your head, what are your like favorite couple?
Man, I really like the one where like Sami Zayn officially becomes an honorary member of the Bloodline. That was cool. I like I don't know, man.
Tribal Court. You're a Tribal Court guy. That was a big one in January.
Yeah, Tribal Court. Tribal Court was good.
The one in MSG on SmackDown. It was like the first 40 minutes of SmackDown. You got Roman. He gives the lay to Jay, and Roman's on his knees crying. Heyman's like about to have a cardiac arrest behind him. Sikoa's just there. Reigns like low blows Jey Uso. Like just brilliant television.
And I love the early segments between Roman and Jay, like during the pandemic in 2020. Those were great. where Roman's just like, I used to babysit you and your brother. I'm the big dog. Fall in line. So stuff like that. Like, it was so good.
This is one more thing. So obviously, I've been outspoken in the last 6 months and 8 months regarding Roman's whereabouts and how he takes the big breaks.
Oh, man.
One thing that would just cut all that, give me nothing to say. If Roman's not going to show up, do one every 2 weeks. Have like a segment, a vignette, something funny or creative. Roman's either at his house or something of just him gloating or something, talking about his wins, talking about a WrestleMania match he had against whatever, how he beat this guy, or he's listening to his accolades, or he's chilling with his belts, he's at his pool, he's like tribal sessions with the tribal chief, huh? This is what day in life of the tribal chief looks like, eh? I'm gonna go in my pool. I'm gonna do my recovery. Hey, yo! And he's like yelling at some intern to like come get him something. Like just like Roman being arrogant, like Roman day-to-day life. That's better than us not seeing Roman at all for 2 months. Just something cool. I don't know. If Roman's not going to be feuding anyone, sure, put him on screen. Have like a 3-minute segment on SmackDown. And we go, wow, that's the best part of the show. Roman yelled at his bartender and he called him a bum broke bitch or something. I don't know. Like, do something. Anyway, so that category, Bloodline clears. There is no debate. That makes Bloodline, I mean, it's Bloodline 4, but it should be 3 because your supermarket test one. And then the Shield 3. So it's 4-3 to the Bloodline, pal.
Yes, sir. All right, so now we're doing charisma, pal.
Yeah.
And this is exciting. In terms of charisma, for me, I look at it. I think this is the most even that it could get for this debate. I don't think that there's one that's going to be this closely contested. Charisma, I give it to the Shield. You have Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. Those 3 guys were the PWI 500 for this past year. They were the top 3 wrestlers. They're the 3. They've been the 3 faces of wrestling, essentially, of this generation since they started with the Shield. They've been the faces of their generation. They've been compared to like the Austin, Rock, and Triple H of this generation. It didn't always pan out where Ambrose was like, sometimes he'd be on the bottom of the card, but he's a pillar of the 2010s. Rollins is a pillar of WWE in 2010s. Roman was the face from like 2015 to the end of the decade. So you got those 3 in a faction together, coming out in the ring, big moments, big matches, whatever the case may be. Tough to beat that. Yeah, the Bloodline, you got Roman, you got the Usos, the whole family, but to me, it's tough to beat those 3 icons, 3 first ballot Hall of Famers coming out to the ring at the same time.
And that's how you define charisma?
Huh?
This was charisma, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not just talking about their entrance. I'm just saying, like, those 3 guys, like, on the screen at the same time, whatever they're doing, a segment, a match.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get any bigger than that.
Yeah, no, I guess that's, how invested you are, how they, I guess, carry themselves. To me, charisma is just how they carry themselves, how the performance side of it. To me, I view, because, I mean, Reigns is in both, right? So I sort of cancel him out of this. I've looked at like the rest of the stable. So it was Rollins and Ambrose, and then it's really Heyman, Sikoa, Jay, Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn for a little bit. I don't think the Bloodline has the charisma of those Shield guys, just generally. Jimmy Uso is not a charisma machine. Solo Sikoa is not a charisma machine. He's an enforcer. Jey Uso isn't traditionally a charisma guy. He's fine, but he's not a charisma sort of guy. Heyman has charisma. We know that. We hear him talk every week. But I look at that Shield group and just, it was something about them. Just something clicked. And we obviously discussed Ambrose. Did he ever reach his potential in WWE? No. But was he charismatic? Was he the mic guy? Was he the one who you couldn't look away when he was talking? What he was going to do. You were hooked when he's on the screen, 100%. Similar to Seth Rollins. I mean, at the time, he was just the athletic guy in the Shield. But beyond that, I mean, he's been involved in some pretty significant things the last 10 years. So I'm giving this not just to the Shield. It's hard to assess this one. This one, is probably the most even category. Beyond our supermarket test one that you've called an audible, just like Roman Reigns the night before WrestleMania 39, night 2, and put in. So there you go. That makes it Shield 4, Bloodline 4.
Yeah, I'll say this. This will transition into our last topic, which is their legacy. I think, like, I look at charisma, I define it as like the it factor, the memorability, that intangible. The Shield, they had that from day one. They had the it factor. They had something about them that drew you to them. They drew in a casual interest. It was a hot time in WWE. You know, you had the Shield at their peak in like 2014. You had Daniel Bryan. You had all that stuff going on, and the Shield were just as big a part of that. They were big merch sellers. Roman had like the women interested, and Rollins had like the hardcore fans interested, and Ambrose had like the jaded older fans that liked like that mic work, the like the Brian Pillman, Roddy Piper style. So it was all kind of a perfect storm. And to talk about their legacy, I think when you look at the legacy of the Shield, a big part of that is the mystique, the charisma of them. People are going to remember them more fondly than they will the Bloodline, in my opinion. I think when you look at 5, 6, 7 years down the line, even from right now, like when Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Ambrose eventually, or John Moxley, all get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Roman Reigns is the big one, especially. Roman Reigns, when he gets inducted in the Hall of Fame, it's going to be him as a single star and him as the Shield. That's what's going to be like the two pillars of his resume. Same thing with Seth Rollins. Like, it's going to be like, oh, this was a member of the Shield. Like, they're going to hammer that home. I don't think Michael Cole or JBL, whoever, at their Hall of Fame induction is going to be screaming about Roman Reigns being in the Bloodline. Like, the Bloodline kind of is like, it is a stable, but it's also a thing that is like a piece of the pie that keeps Roman relevant. You know, Roman couldn't be Roman by himself. He needs a Bloodline in order to keep his mystique going and keep his stardom going while he's sitting on his couch. Whereas the Shield, it was like this perfect storm of just these three top stars all together that we've never seen before. And it's going to be remembered more fondly, more unique than any other faction. The Shield are more unique than any other faction. Now, the NWO, that was unique for its own reasons. DX was unique for its own reasons. Evolution was unique for its own reasons. But the Shield, they didn't need a Ric Flair kind of guy. They didn't need a Triple H guy. They didn't need a Hulk Hogan heel turn. They were just cool because the three of them were badasses.
You make a great argument. You do. I would say, just with the Bloodline, yeah, I'll go that far. I think in many regards, people look back on it in 5 years. Who knows where WWE is? I don't imagine they'll be back to where they were in 2018 and 19, where it's in the dark days and it's just like everything's insufferable and just you can't sit through the shows. I'd like to imagine in 5 years, either business is booming further and it's been several years of a good time to be a fan, sort of thing. And I'd like to think, in many regards, we will look back on the Bloodline as the thing that was the catalyst for change in that regard. That was like the on-screen, tangible group thing, we could say, that from that moment when that happened, everything changed after that. Because before the Bloodline, it was Jey Uso doing karaoke in an empty arena in the Performance Center. It was Big Dog Roman Reigns facing Goldberg for no reason, going into WrestleMania, getting booed before the crowd was taken away. But then after the Bloodline, I mean, everything changed. Like, the Bloodline was the thing, especially in 2021 when there's still a lot of stuff that's questionable going on. We've got Charlotte Flair kicking referee in the ribs to close Raw, Riddle and Orton doing these like segments, which some are okay, most of them are a bit eh. And like you got this bunch of weird stuff, Miz and John Morrison playing paints with Bad Bunny's Bugatti, even like crap like that. The Bloodline was there from 2020, and in my opinion at least, led the WWE out of that just absolute rut into where they are now, where you've got Royal Rumble tickets booked in 4 months in advance. I'm on a 90,000 person pre-sale list to try and get one ticket to this like 75,000 seat Elimination Chamber show at Optus Stadium. You know, we've got some of our fans going to go to shows. Tickets are booked out. They have to organize extra ticketing. Like for a SmackDown show that's in MSG or wherever, they need to organize extra tickets 6, 8, 10 weeks out because they're selling out within an hour or two. Like, the Bloodline was the thing, the attraction, the act that got from where we were to where we are now. As like, that's what I'd look to at least. So that's the case I'd make. I think in the context of wrestling in the modern era, they're the most significant stable, I think, in that regard. The Shield, yes, when it comes to the guys involved, produced the three biggest stars, and it was so unique. This is why it makes this one so hard to decide, because the legacies are both so significant. Without the Shield, I mean, who knows how Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns come into WWE. I'm sure Roman would have been a star regardless. I have no doubt in my mind. Do they bring Ambrose in as some just goofball? Like, is he just dismissed as some other mid-card? I know. Like, does Ambrose come in just as he was in late 2014, spraying barbecue sauce with the tongs and the mustard pal, like grabbing Joey Mercury by the balls at the tongs. Like, is that just
Getting
Dean Ambrose?
injections, pal.
Yeah, is he just running around with Bane masks and getting injections by doctors up the arse? Like, is that Dean Ambrose? You know, like Seth Rollins, if he doesn't start with the Shield, does he ever reach the success of the modern day Mr. WrestleMania? Who knows? So it's so hard to say. I think this one, for right now, it's almost impossible to answer because we don't know. In 5 years' time, might be like the Bloodline legitimately, decisively saved wrestling and created a big boom. So it's hard to say. For now, I will say the Shield in that regard. I think just the body of what we've seen for the last 11 years, you can't ignore it. As you said, the top three in the PWI, Reigns, Rollins, Ambrose, or Moxley, sorry. I think it was Rollins number one for this year, I think.
Yeah, Rollins 1, Reigns 2, Moxley 3.
Yeah, that list was BS anyway, but we won't go into that.
What number was Brock Lesnar? Do you remember?
Was he 501 or what was he? What was he?
He didn't make the list. He didn't make a top 500 list, but Cheeseburger did, pal.
What about Christian Cage, the guy who's like the face of AEW right now? What about him?
Cheeseburger made the list though.
Oh, gotcha. Cool. Yeah. Sweet. Amazing. And there were wrestlers who were literally just like random Subway employees down the street. They were on the list, but Christian Cage and Brock Lesnar.
Todd Taylor made the list, you know, from Armageddon Extreme Pro Wrestling Golf Stream. Yeah.
Golf Club Pro Wrestling. Yeah, they made the list, but, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to say the Shield just because of what they've done. But going forward, once the Bloodline plays out, once it ends, maybe once Roman is dethroned, once Solo turns on Roman, once Jimmy Uso is, I don't even know what happens to Jimmy Uso. Hopefully he just stays sober. Once all that happens, who knows? Maybe the Bloodline clears this definitively. But for now, Kevin, we're going to say this. Shield 5, Bloodline 4. This definitively ends the debate. Definitive, case closed. Debate over. We're not going to mention that one of the categories of that 5 the Shield got was supermarket test. We won't mention that. 5 to the Shield, 4 to the Bloodline. Definitive, over, case closed. Anything from you, pal?
But with that being said, where do you rank each of these stables all time?
Shield number 3, Bloodline number 5 or 6. I'd say, to me, it's the NWO. I'd put Evolution. DX though, I don't know. I'd put the Shield and DX similar. That's going to make people have a heart attack. I don't know. It depends what you prefer. DX, there was some big highs, but there was a lot of lows. There was a lot of WTF involved with DX. I personally really rate the Shield. I just do. What that's meant for modern wrestling the last 11 years. The 3 biggest stars, and as everything you've said, it was so unique. I think the Bloodline still needs to play out. If that plays out perfectly and everything, it could end up as like a top 2 stable all time.
So you have them right behind DX.
Pretty much. Like, to me, I might be forgetting some here, but I think NWO has to be them. You have to have Evolution. You have to have Shield, DX. They have to be there. Beyond that, who are we talking? Who are we thinking? What? Corporation, Bloodline, Heart Foundation, Ted DiBiase, Virgil, and Andre the Giant. Is that a stable? Like, what are we sort of counting here with that? Like,
right. Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, you got the Judgment Day, pal. Where do they rank all time?
Finn Balor's involved, so they can't be top 20.
Oh. Like Fergie, pal?
Well, JD McDonough is one of the trash men as well. That doesn't help. But no, being serious, I don't know. We'll see the Judgment Day ranks, but like 2010s, what were the good stables? I couldn't tell
Nexus.
You. I don't know. Like the Wyatt family, mate, the Nexus. Like what the core, the new Nexus. Like what are we working with?
There's not a lot of. I mean, I'd probably say the Straight Edge Society is the name that people will throw out there. Top 10. Yeah, but for me, it's the NWO. It's Evolution, Shield, DX, and I'd probably say the Bloodline right after them at 5. Honestly, I mean the Bloodline have made a huge impact. Yeah, they're both top 5 factions all time. The Heart Foundation wasn't around long enough, but I would still put it as like a top 10. Straight Edge Society is another one. The 4 Horsemen, pal. We are missing the 4 Horsemen. We're gonna get people that are gonna have heart attacks because we did not.
Where are you gonna rank them? Now we've remembered them. Yes. Where are we gonna put them? Number 1, 2.
So I'm gonna go. All right. So I'm gonna have NWO. I'll do this. NWO, 4 Horsemen, Evolution, Shield, DX, Bloodline.
I like it, pal. Are you going to rank Sergeant Slaughter and General Adnan? Are they going to make the stables list?
Probably not, pal. Probably
I
not.
just want to make sure after your infamous video on them that popped off. But no,
Stay tuned for my next video about the Iron Sheik being paid to break Terry Bollea's leg and ruin Vince McMahon's expansion of the WWF and the creation of WrestleMania. So,
right, this guy's leg.
Yeah, Terry Bollea, pal.
This guy, the real American pal.
Here's another fun fact, another Terry Bollea lie. He claimed that that he was being recruited to be a minor league baseball pitcher, but he hurt his arm, pal, and had to go to wrestling after that.
I can't believe you find a way to slander the greatest wrestler of all time.
Well, someone has to, pal, for the credibility of this podcast. Somebody has to slander him. Like, I don't think anybody, any modern podcast would have Hogan in their top 5, and we had him 1 and 2.
Well, yeah, because all the other podcasts don't know what they're like. Just Kevin, you cannot have it. It's like Hulk Hogan without him wrestling. We're not here. We're not doing this. So if you don't have Hogan top 1 or 2, your list has 0 credibility. Speaking of which, Kevin, the Elite Heat polls have the fans saying my list is just better than yours, pal. So yes,
I love that.
That's
pal.
good.
That's okay. That's okay, pal. We'll see. We'll talk numbers at the end when the poll is done, pal. Let's go around the world. Are you ready?
Pal, pal, 62% of votes I've got. Anyway, pal, how are we going to go, pal? How are we going to go around the world? Where are we going to go, pal? I'm going to get the globe. Tell us where we're going. Where we're going.
Well, pal, let me ask you this. In your younger days, you ever had an instance where you were like, you were banned from an establishment, from a place of business? That ever happened to you?
Banned.
Yeah, you ever got it in an instance like getting thrown out of like a restaurant or anything? That ever happened to you?
Thrown out? Well, before I'd love to hear where you're going with this. What do you have a story of a banning?
Yeah.
Is this? Yeah. Oh, this will be juicy. This will be saucy. Go. I'd love to hear this.
Yeah,
Go.
This is good. So when I was young, I had one friend. I won't say his name, but we'll say he had a knack for extracurricular activities, you know?
So we'll say code name is Sean for extracurricular activities. Code name Sean.
Yeah, he liked candy. We'll leave it at that. He liked candy.
Okay.
You know?
The code name Jeff.
Yeah, he liked a lot of candy. And this was more than 10 years ago. I was probably like 14 or something happened.
Wow.
And I was at a Taco Bell. Taco Bell used to be walking distance with some friends, and my friend who liked the candy, pal, he started screaming at the top of his lungs at the Taco Bell manager for no reason, and it's just like laughing, you know, just like, "Hi guys, look at this! I'm gonna yell at the manager, ha ha ha! I'm gonna do this in front of everyone." I was like, we're all just like, okay, cool. So he starts making a scene, and we're all like, "Oh, we don't know that guy, sorry." But yeah, long story short, we ended up getting kicked out of this Taco Bell. And I don't know if I'm banned. I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm banned per se. Haven't been to that Taco Bell in a while, a long time. Wow. So there's another instance too. I got another one. So, this was at a Barnes and Noble. Barnes and Noble has since been tore down, pal. They turned it into a gym. So the Barnes and Noble does not exist. I was definitively banned. They told me you can never come back to this Barnes and Noble again.
What did you do? Did you burn books? Did you spit at a staff member?
I didn't do anything. I was there with one of my friends. You know, it was like down in a downtown area. We used to go to Barnes and Noble just to chill, for whatever reason. There was nothing to do, walk around. And he starts skating in the Barnes and Noble. There was like an escalator and stairs. Like the Barnes and Noble was on the 2nd floor of this building. So he's like skating down the stairs and doing like ollies and kick flips and all this stuff in the store. And they're just like, "Yo, get the hell out." Like, they're like, "Oh, we got pictures of you. We're gonna post them on the wall. You guys are not allowed in this Barnes and Noble anymore."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I've got a couple of similar. Nothing directly of me being banned from anything, because pal, I'm a saint, pal. I'm a clean young man, pal. I would never do such things. I'm not Jeff. I don't play with candy, pal.
Not Jeff, pal.
I'm not Jeff. Codename Jeff. Codename Sean. I've seen some things, particularly one. I mean, these are a bit different. It's not banned from a store per se, but you imagine these people were banned. Kevin, have you seen any instances of just blatant shoplifting or people stealing things? Just like you've seen it happen.
Yes, I've seen it plenty of times in all my years of working retail.
That's fantastic. Now, I've literally been on my lunch break at work. I'm chilling. Yeah. I'm just, there's maybe 20 minutes left. I'm wandering around the mall. There's like this flower shop, right? And then this woman comes running out. This woman, she's got like an eye tattoo like this, tattoos on the side of her face, runs out with like two thingos of flowers, just sprints out. And then two of the staff members from the shop, these Asian women, just sprint after her. This is like a full scene. They're screaming, running through the middle of a mall. And I'm like, they run past me. I'm like, okay, nice. I wonder if that'll result in a shop ban. I don't know what happened to that. They're going to chase her down the street. I think the police got involved. So that was just that just happened, I guess. And then one other thing, Kevin, this is really random, but is there a thing like, this might be an Australian thing. I don't know. But there's like a lake near where I work. And the amount of times I've seen like shopping trolleys, just the trolleys you put your groceries in, those trolleys just in the lake. I don't know who throws shopping trolleys in the lake.
Homeless people?
I don't know. Is that an Australian thing? Is that a thing any listeners have had? But like, I'm doing a walk around the lake just for lunch, just like, I'm cruising, chilling. Pal JTE's just walking around waiting for his lunch break to be over. And I look to the left of me and there's a shopping trolley. This happened multiple times, just sitting in the lake. I'm like, okay, nice. And then I keep walking. And then I don't know if this is an Australian thing as well. I see a bunch of kids, must be maybe 12, 13, 14. They've all got like mullets. There's an Australian thing as well. Like all their hair's just like out like this. And they're like, there's no hair here. It's all at the back. And they're all fishing. And there's like a bunch of 12-year-olds swearing, just like fishing in this lake, or there's a shopping trolley and the lake's like, it's like murky water. Oh, this is so Australia. Like if I had to describe Australia to someone in one visual, I'd describe you a shopping trolley sitting in the lake, a bunch of like, bogan 12-year-olds with mullets swearing at each other fishing, and then JTE walking around being the big G pal, the king of Australia pal. I don't know. It's
big
just
G pal.
Pal, the big honcho pal, big Aristotle. So with that being said, I don't know. So I haven't been banned for anything myself, but I've seen a woman running out of a shop, stealing with flowers, being chased by Asian women through a grocery store.
Right, so let me tell you a good shoplifting story.
Yeah.
So I used to work at Best Buy. Do they have that in Australia?
Yeah, yes. And they have other versions as well. Like we have our own sort of ones.
But you have like a Best Buy, like Best Buy. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
We have like one of like the franchise chains, yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm working there, doing my shift, minding my own business. And they sell Apple Watches, they sell iPhones, they sell Macs, they sell PlayStations, all this stuff. So I'm sitting there, and you hear the alarms start going off. You hear beep, 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 all these alarms going off. And they're like, okay, well, all right, let me get the key, let me go over there. I'm walking over there, and I see a bunch of people, like, not a bunch of people, but like one or two people. They're cutting the cords on the iPhones, the Apple Watches. They're running out with all the Apple Watches, all the iPhones, all the MacBooks that we had on display. And I was just looking at them, like running, and I'm like, bro, that stuff's useless. Like you can't even use it. You can't sell it. It's locked. It's in a like a store demo mode, so you can't do anything with it. They remove like the product key from it, and they lock the hard drive and all that good stuff, so you can't do anything with it. Literally, it's just stuck in that loop, that endless loop of the wallpaper and like promoting the products and all that. So I'm like, I guess like you won. I guess you got a brand new Apple Watch that you could stare at and watch it go through the store demo until it dies, and then you can recharge it and continue the same cycle and just watch it go through the store demo. Like I don't know what you accomplished here.
And then that'll be on video of the CCTV, all the cameras of the store. And then if the police want to follow up, they can just arrest them. Yeah. And it's like, well, that did a whole lot. That was really beneficial. Great job.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Cool. Cool. You got the store demo version of an Apple Watch. Great. That's amazing.
Yeah, good for you. All right, pal. Well, we went
Yep.
around the world. We went to Australian lakes. We went to American Best Buys. And I think we can get out of here now, pal. Until the next
Yep.
time.
Peace.